What up, peeps? Welcome back to episode number 106 today of the My Player Career Mode. How are you all doing? Hopefully you're all having a good Friday. Welcome to the weekend. Let's see if we can start it off in the right way. Yesterday wasn't too great for me, of course, being an Arsenal fan. We were knocked out of Europe, which means now the last European hopes fall upon Liverpool. So my question for today's video is, what do you think the score in the Champions League final between Liverpool and Real Madrid will be? Personally, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool win. I think they've got it in the bag. I don't want to sound too confident, but it would be nice as well to have an English winner for once. And, we've not really seen too many English teams make the final. So I believe Liverpool can do it. I'm going 2-1. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below in this video. Maybe if you're a Liverpool fan and you think they're going to win 4-0, 5-0, I don't know. But whatever suggestion or whatever opinion you've got on the scoreline, put it down below. It'd be really intriguing to see. But today's episode has 5 games for you all to enjoy. And I started the episode off by showing you the draw for the next round of the Champions League, because I actually forgot to do it last episode. We saw them get through, but we didn't know the sides that were in it and who were going to play who. The game against Leeds, though, started off very well for West Ham. They ended up taking the lead. I think it was Ben crossing towards the back post where Zivkovic managed to find the header to make the score 1-0. And also, it was a weird game, this one, because I looked at the sides and I saw where both of the teams were positioned in the Premier League. And at first, I looked at the team of Leeds and I kind of thought, how on earth are they doing so well? And then I looked at the West Ham team and thought, yeah, 100% on paper, West Ham have the better team. So when they took the lead, it was to be expected. And I thought this was going to be quite a simple task on hand. But when you're playing away at Leeds, it could always be the other case. And although West Ham had the lead, and although Ben had assisted for it, Leeds didn't take long to find a chance for themselves. Bakali finding a teammate, eventually forces Svensson, who curls his side back into the game at 1 apiece. Before this game kicked off, there was, I think, 3 points separating both sides. There was even a time when Leeds were at the top of the table. And as I said, looking at the team, I couldn't really see why, but then again, Svensson does show us potentially why it is the case that they're having a very good season. Making it 1-1, not too long after conceding, but major credit has to go to Bakali. He created the chance and enabled his team to get back in the game. And we went into the stroke of half-time. Ben, lovely turn to try and beat his man, finds a pass through. The goal is in, but unfortunately, the offside flag was raised, and rightfully raised as well, may I add, because when I saw it back, or played it back rather, the decision was correct. Ben should have played the ball through a little bit quicker than he did. But then into the second half we go, and I'm not quite sure what actually happened here. All I know is that once again, defensively, West Ham make a mistake, and they're made to pay for it. Svensson curling in his second of the afternoon, and Leeds his second as well, giving the host the lead here. But it comes yet again from another West Ham United defensive error, not clearing their lines correctly. And it just is so simple. It's a simple game at times, football. You just have to clear your lines there, do it correctly, and you won't be conceded. But Ben thought he'd put his side back on level terms when his crazy run in towards the box. He found the post with his shot, though. And frustratingly for West Ham, they fell to a defeat in the first game of the episode today. A 2-1 loss to Leeds United. And I have to give credit where it's due. You know, they played well enough to get the victory. Whether or not it was deserved, we can have a debate about that. But all I know for sure is that West Ham, again, showing their defensive frailties. Going forward, they look okay, but defensively, they're not good enough at the moment. And to win a league title, you've got to have both sides of your team doing the business, as we found out with Manchester United and Ben in Season 1. This time, we're seeing the same from West Ham United here. So a defeat's not the way we want to start. We then had a game against Bolton in the FA Cup, which we simmed, and I think we ended up winning it 2-0, I do believe, before heading into this one against Swansea at home, looking to bounce back with a victory here, because all we need to do is keep trying to win our games, and then potentially we'll see West Ham and Ben at the top of the Premier League table. I have looked at the table, though, and I've got to say, when I show you it a bit later on in the episode, part of me thinks that this has been a very poor Premier League season. Well, what I mean by that is the teams at the top aren't really outclassing the rest of the teams. Like, I looked at it and thought, like, look there. For example, we are now 20 league games in, and the highest team in the division is on 36 points. I felt that that was quite a low points tally, considering we're 20 games into the season. So maybe you guys think differently, but yeah, looking at that, being 20 games in, 36 points picked up from 20 games, I don't think that's good enough. But this one against Swansea, we didn't really get going. They had the first chance. We went into the second half. Ben looked like he was going to score to make it 1-0, but couldn't quite get his shot correct. And then from there, it was us again, I think, with another chance. Around about 5 minutes to go. Ben with a throw-in. Gets it played straight back. Uses a little bit of strength that he's got. Doesn't have a lot, but he manages to hold off his man before finding the top corner with a shot from the edge of the area. That's why he is taking everything this season at West Ham. Penalties, free kicks. He's kind of their star man and the one that is carrying them at the moment to all their success, I guess you could say, in the aspect that they are kind of challenging and they're still in the Champions League. And without Ben, that probably wouldn't have been the case. But he shows his quality here, holding off his defender before firing it into the top corner in what could be the winning goal of this one here against Swansea. And then into the last minute of the game we go when Ben gets a little bit of luck to get through the defensive line, drives forward, and I have to say this is a great save from the goalkeeper. Fingertips to this. I'm not quite sure, though, if it was actually going in or if it was going to go wide. You can see from this angle, it is a good save from the keeper. It does get down low to keep his fingertips there. Maybe it was going to creep into that bottom corner, but I'm not 100% sure of it. In the end, it didn't actually matter because West Ham bounced back and get the 3 points against Swansea City. So 2-1 defeat earlier on, 1-0 win here. Wasn't the cleanest performance in the world, wasn't the best performance in the world, but at least it's job done. Back to winning ways for the boys. Now, after that, it was Southampton. A lot of games here. Most of them, I think, in fact, all of them are in the Premier League today because we're waiting for the tie against Leipzig to come. Probably next episode now. And apologies there if you just heard that slight bang. Something fell off onto my desk. So that's the reason why there was a noise. But anyway, yeah. So most of these are Premier League games. And I think at this point, we are only maybe, depending on Champions League results, around about 5 or 6 episodes away from the end of the season. In which case, Ben goes back to Manchester United. And then we have to make another decision on what we do regarding the future. And this is where probably most of you guys are going to come into it. We will talk a little bit about it later on, I guess, until we finish this game off. And then I can kind of go into more detail. But the game against Southampton, they started off better, having the initial chance there. You can see if they'd hit the target, it would have been quite tough, I think, for the West Ham keeper to save it. But the shot wasn't very good. It went wide of the post. And then West Ham not learning from their mistakes because, again, it was Southampton 6 minutes in who found another chance. Reed. Lovely play to find Spinazzola on this left-hand side. His cross was good as well to Lopez at the back post. And what a save that one is from Citizen there. Down low to his left. But again, why did West Ham not pick up their men? It's a simple task. And then finally, they grew into the game a bit more. Ben, dangerous in these types of areas. How on earth this isn't given for a penalty, I don't know. The referee played advantage. There was no advantage. Look at this. Ben plays the ball across. You can see it here. That's where the challenge comes in. You can say he's kicked the defender's leg, which he has, but at the same time, the ref played advantage. So what did he play advantage for? Because there wasn't one. So to me, that should have been a penalty kick. And ultimately, that could have changed the outcome of the game because it ended up being a 0-0 draw. I don't know, because the referee played advantage. It should have been a pen. We'll see. I mean, there's arguments for both cases, but I do genuinely wonder what the advantage was played for. Then we went into the next one, Coventry City. We had to sim it again because the FA Cup is not really what we're focusing on here with Ben. We've already won it with him. We want to see him win the best trophies, the Premier League, the Champions League and the likes. Playing against Coventry, sadly, went out to them. And as I show you the league table again here, United sit top of the table currently. Ben's parent club, 2 points ahead of his current one. It's very close at the top, though. From like the 9th place side upwards, there's actually potential for them to catch them. But as I said, 40 points for 22 league games in. 40 points out of a possible 66 if we look it out that way. To me, that's not good enough. I don't think the sides that are playing in this current Premier League, I don't think there's a dominant side anymore. Like, if Ben was at Man United, potentially maybe then he would have been able to be part of a dominant United team. But yeah, it's a very, very low point tally this season. And Ben as well has just grown to a 96 rated midfielder. For the first time ever in the series, he's at 96 overall. Can we get him to 97? That's going to be the question. But I don't know if you saw it moments ago as well. Man United have just signed a new cam to their ranks. Nabil Fekir joins them for around about £39 million. So is that potentially a Ben Wood replacement if he is to leave next season? This game, though, comes at the London Stadium. Arsenal, the opponents, and it took until the second half for anything to really happen. A lovely passing move from West Ham here. And I've got to say, if it had been finished off, it would have been some goal from the boys. Nice interchangeable passing, but a good save at the end of it from the Arsenal keeper. And then 66 minutes in, Again, West Ham on the ball, finding its way forward. Ben again with a nice through ball. This time it's over to the left-hand side. And once again, it is the Arsenal keeper who makes the difference for them. And as we move into the last few minutes of the game, Arsenal did make a change, and it mattered as well. Thomas Lamar's cross towards the back post for the oncoming Schopf, who hit the woodwork with his header. It could have been a brilliant start for the substitute. The first touch of the ball ended up finding its way onto the post, and then they hit the post yet again, this time from the edge of the area of a shot. So very lucky West Ham holding on here at the moment to a 0-0 draw, which could have been so much more if they'd been able to finish their chances. They weren't able to do it, and eventually the referee brought it to a close. So it was the single point, adding to the disappointing point against Southampton. Not being the greatest episode for West Ham in the Premier League today, but as I said, nobody is really running away with the league. So they're quite lucky in that aspect that there isn't a team out there right now that's smashing everyone and just winning every game. But United did beat Chelsea, so that's an interesting one for the title because both of those sides are within the top four. So yeah, when it comes round to the next Man United game, that could be a massive one, depending on where United sit, especially considering the fact that it is Ben's parent club. But moving into the final game of the episode then, we will play it against Bournemouth. And just to cover what I said earlier, once we get towards the end of this season with West Ham, Ben has to go back to Man United, his parent club. But I want to know the general consensus. What do you guys want for the series? Do you want to see Ben become a manager at some point? If so, then remember that career mode does have an ending, so we might have to kind of focus on that. Do you want him to still remain a player? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as well, because it's always up to you. I always make my decisions, and I always ask you guys first on them. So I want you guys to make the decision for me as well. So just give me some kind of comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking, feeling, whatever it is about the series. And of course, we will act upon those. But this final game comes against Bournemouth, who are always tricky opponents away to their ground. But Ben, luckily, was on fire in this game as he put his side 1-0 up late into the second half. 20 or so minutes remaining of this one, but he did have a few moments in this in the first half that I genuinely thought we are going to get chances, or we're going to see Ben get chances. And he got this one, kept his calm and composure. Look at this, ball through. Ronaldo chops it around the defender and then finishes it with that left foot past the keeper. No chance whatsoever. So West Ham's man does it again for them, this time giving him the lead. So he doesn't want to end this on a draw. We don't want to see another draw as the final game of the episode. But the last few minutes of it, Ben again on the ball, looking to drive forward. Manages to play the pass out wide to the left and eventually gets it back with a nice through ball. Good one backwards, and then this is just lovely. Honestly, the move, the finish, everything was perfect from West Ham. That's what we want to see. None of this stupidity at the back, passing it to the opponents in areas where they just shouldn't be doing it. Losing the ball and then conceding straight from it. They need to play their football in the other half of the pitch. I was slightly disappointed in the defender, but then when I saw it back from this angle, you know, it is quality from Ben. He lifts it over the keeper and does enough on it just so that the defender can't react quick enough to turn his body and make the block on the line. And that's the reason why the score was 2-0. And as the last few minutes came, unfortunately, Ben could not get his hat-trick. But that doesn't matter, because what does matter is West Ham win. Ben picks up 2 goals and again cements his place as a potential contender for this year's Player of the Year again. We want to see him win it. We want to see him be the Premier League's best player again. He's won it now. Did he win it last season and the season before that? I'm not entirely sure if it was the season before. But yeah, we're used to seeing him get these awards and stuff. So it's nice to see him continuing his good run of form. Before we go, there'll be a league table for you all to look at after the 5 games have been played in today's episode. It's very close at the top, which should make for some interesting games later on, especially considering that Ben will probably have to play against his parent club to decide the title at some stage. So yeah, other than that, guys, that is how we end today's episode off. If you did enjoy it, a like would be greatly appreciated. I thank you all for your continued support. Make sure you leave some comments about what I mentioned earlier on in the episode. If you're not already subscribed and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button as well. I'll see you all again at 4 PM tomorrow, guys. Adios.